All right, welcome back. This is my 2021 NFL Mock Draft. This is going to be done on the PFF Mock Draft Simulator. It's going to have no trades, and I'm going to give a short little note on each prospect that's picked, but not anything in depth. So let's get to it. Okay, so with the first overall pick, the Jaguars are going to select Trevor Lawrence, QB out of Clemson. Lawrence is probably the best QB prospect since Andrew Luck, and he's a no-brainer at number one. I can't see the Jaguars selecting anything else. The Jaguars are in need of a QB and a star to help bring their franchise back up, and Lawrence is the guy. With the second overall pick, the Jets are going to select Zach Wilson, QB out of BYU. After trading Sam Darnold, the Jets are in need of a QB, and Zach Wilson is the guy. He's been linked to them almost everywhere. It's a pretty sure thing that he's going to probably go number two. Wilson doesn't have an ideal NFL body type. He's a little skinny, but his natural accuracy, off-platform skills, and ability to make spontaneous decisions under pressure should translate well to the Jets. So that's going to be Zach Wilson. At number three, the 49ers are one of the most interesting teams because they could really go Justin Fields, Trey Lance, or some have made the case of Mac Jones. But with the third overall pick, I believe the 49ers will be selecting Justin Fields, QB from Ohio State. I don't think they're traded up all the way to get Mac Jones, even though there's been a lot of reports for that. Justin Fields plays similar to Deshaun Watson, and I think they were in the mix to trade for him before everything started to happen. He has some problems, accuracy issues, and Ohio State QBs haven't done well in the past. But his athletic ability, great arm strength, and the fact that he's not a long-term project like Trey Lance might be makes him a better pick now for the 49ers. All right, at pick 4, I have the Falcons taking Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Florida. He is one of the most dominant prospects I've seen. He's my best non-QB prospect in the draft, and he'd be an immediate contributor for the Falcons, who don't have a super reliable tight end. Although Kyle Pitts isn't great at blocking, he's an absolute monster receiving and can play basically anywhere. And if Julio Jones maybe leaves in the next few seasons, Kyle Pitts could be that next guy for them. So I think they're going to get him. All right, with the fifth pick, the Bengals are selecting Penei Sewell, offensive lineman from Oregon. Sewell is one of the best lineman prospects ever. Although he didn't play this year, he's still looked at as the number one offensive lineman and basically number two non-quarterback prospect. The Bengals have a big need to protect Joe Burrow as he got injured from that last year, and if they can protect him, he definitely has a chance to break out and have an amazing season. They could go with Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle here, as they do need a wide receiver and some more wide receiver help, but I really think they're going to go with Sewell here to help protect Burrow. All right. With the sixth overall pick, the Dolphins, who traded up to this with the Eagles, are going to select Jamar Chase, wide receiver out of LSU. Even though Chase opted out this year, he's still one of the best players on the board and the best wide receiver prospect. The Dolphins need to get a receiver to kind of help out Tua. And although I could see it being Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith, I think they're going to go with the best receiver prospect in this which is Jamar Chase. All right, with the seventh pick, the Detroit Lions, I believe, are going to select Devontae Smith, wide receiver out of Alabama. Smith won the Heisman this year. He's one of the best wide receivers in college. He was the best wide receiver last year. And even though he has legitimate durability and size concerns, his upside could be too tempting for the Lions to pass up. When he's on the field, he's one of the most impactful players. He's a natural athlete and receiver, has great hands, great speed, great route running, but that size is a concern. But I think the Lions are going to just draft him. I think the upside is too big to mess up with. All right, with the eighth pick, I have the Panthers selecting Rashawn Slater, the lineman from Northwestern. Slater is the second best lineman prospect in the draft. He's super versatile, which will definitely help the Panthers, who need some help on the offensive line as they don't really have a solidified great lineman such as Slater can be. And they just traded for Sam Darnold, and Darnold's big problem was he had no help and no line with the Jets, and I think they really want to protect him. And Slater would be an immediate starter, and he has the potential to definitely be a Pro Bowler in the future. With the ninth pick, the Denver Broncos are selecting Trey Lance, QB out of North Dakota State. Lance is one of the most intriguing, if not the most intriguing prospect in this draft. He has only started one season in which he was only 18 years old, and he didn't play last year because of COVID, canceled North Dakota State's season. But Lance, he's probably the best quarterback athlete in this draft. He has a great arm. He's super raw. And I think the Broncos are a perfect team for him to go to because they're not going to be competing this year. And he can definitely improve a lot with them if they get him some good coaching. And I think he's the perfect pick for the Broncos to get. At pick 10, the Cowboys are selecting Patrick Surtain, the second cornerback from Alabama. This has been rumored everywhere. I would be surprised if it wasn't him. He's the best cornerback in this draft. The Cowboys have a big need at cornerback, and he has great size and natural ability to play corner, and he'll start immediately for the Cowboys. And he could even be a Pro Bowler in coming years. All right. At the 11th pick, the Giants are going to select Jalen Waddle, wide receiver out of Alabama. Even though he was hurt almost the entire year last year, Waddle's still one of the best wide receivers in this draft and best prospects. He lacks size, but he is fast, twitchy, and has elite athleticism. He has decent hands, but definitely has the speed to be a Tyreek Hill type of player in the future. He's also probably one of the best returners I have ever personally seen, and that will definitely impact the Giants so they can have shorter fields to score. The Giants will really need a playmaker. Although they have a lot of good young wide receivers, they don't really have a number one, and Waddle will be a great help for Daniel Jones to have. With the 12th pick, the Eagles are selecting Micah Parsons, linebacker out of Penn State. So although they have needs at corner, here Parsons is the best player on the board, one of the best linebackers prospects in the last few years, and he's just going to be an absolute beast. The Eagles haven't addressed the cornerback or the linebacker position in a long time, and they need a playmaker there in the middle of the field. And Parsons, although he sat out last year, he's an amazing prospect. He has impressive size, strength, speed, athleticism. His awareness is definitely growing, and as he plays more, that's going to be even more heightened. He's super smart. With good coaching, Parsons will be one of the best talents out of the draft, and Parsons is definitely the best choice for the Eagles to make. All right, with the 13th pick, the Chargers are selecting Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive lineman out of USC. He's one of the most versatile players in the draft, and the Chargers have needs all over the line. So I think they would go with him because they can kind of plug and play him where they need to. He is average size, but he's calm and patient while blocking, and he's a very good run and pass blocker. He started both at tackle and guard at USC, so he's versatile, and like I said, the Chargers can play him where they want to. All right, with the 14th pick, the Vikings are selecting Christian Darrisaw, tackle out of Virginia Tech. There have been lots of rumors that the Vikings love Darrisaw. I could really see them going for him, and they've been needing to fix their offensive linemen for years, their offensive line, and finally, I think they're going to do it with him. Darrisaw is huge. He's 6'5", 330, and he's surprisingly quick for a guy of his size. He'd shore up their line, and his ability to play tackle or guard could help them in the future with addressing other areas. All right, at pick 15, the New England Patriots are selecting Mac Jones, quarterback out of Alabama. After the Cam Newton experiment didn't really work last year, I really believe the Patriots are going to draft a QB, and they could be a prime candidate for a trade up. Jones is a typical pocket passer. He's a really smart player on the field, makes quick decisions. He's very accurate, and he's a lot of what Jimmy Garoppolo is, who the Patriots have been kept on trying to trade back for him. I could even see them trading for him somehow, but the Patriots are going to address their QB concerns with Mac Jones. All right, with the 16th pick, the Cardinals are going to select J.C. Horn, cornerback out of South Carolina. Horn, with longtime corner Patrick Peterson leaving the team, the Cardinals really have a hole in their secondary, and Horn will be filling that role. He has some holes in his game, but his knack for the ball and interception really boosts him up. He has the perfect body for a corner. He's tall and quick. He's long, and he's going to probably start year one for the Cardinals in kind of an Aqib Talib, like press corner type of role. All right. With the 17th pick, the Raiders are going to select Jeremiah Owusu-Karamo, linebacker out of Notre Dame. The Raiders for years have been lacking a playmaker at linebacker, and he really fills that need. Karamo has great athleticism and explosion, playmaking range, and intelligence, and he will grow into like a great rover linebacker, kind of can move all throughout the field. He sometimes reacts before he reads the play, but I think with some good coaching that can change, and he will probably start immediately for the Raiders and could be one of the better linebackers out of this draft in a few years. All right, let's pick him. All right, with the 18th pick, the Dolphins are selecting Christian Barmore, defensive lineman out of Alabama. The Dolphins need kind of a guy to push their line in the center, and I think Barmore really helps that. His size and strength are in surprising explosiveness for a guy his size. Make sure he doesn't stay blocked very long. Like he's going to get to the quarterback right away, and the Dolphins really need that. He'd probably start immediately for them, and he'd bring lots of pressure on the line to a very young and definitely rising team in the NFL. All right, so at pick 19, the Washington football team are selecting Kadarius Toney, wide receiver out of Florida. With Terry McLaurin set as the team's number one wide receiver, Washington really needs a speed guy that can kind of operate as a number two and be a downfield threat for whoever the QB ends up being for Washington. He also has really good return ability, so that's going to be a bonus for them. All right, at the 20th pick, the Bears are selecting Walker Little, lineman out of Stanford. Little was one of the third overall prospect coming into college. He's really struggled with injuries, and some people have him going second round. There are a lot of teams that need tackles, though, so I really think he's going to be the pick here because they've been linked to him a lot, and he has tons of upside for where they're getting him. Like, he has the upside to be probably the second best behind Penei Sewell in this draft out of linemen. All right, at the 21st pick, the Colts are selecting Kwity Paye, edge out of Penn State. The Colts have an elite inside D lineman in DeForest Buckner, and who better than to pair him with Kwity Paye? He's super raw, but he has the energy, explosiveness, and desire to learn to be molded into an elite edge rusher. He's most likely going to start right away, and with good coaching, he could be a great addition to their D line. All right. At pick 22, we have the Titans, and they're going to be selecting Rashad Bateman, wide receiver out of Minnesota. A.J. Brown is definitely their number one wide receiver, but they need a good complement to him. They don't really have anybody else, and I think Bateman's that guy. He's an elite route runner. Like, that's his thing, is he's a great route runner. And he has good hands throughout the field. He can play the slot probably and just, run around in the middle of the field. He can catch. He has pretty good athleticism. He's not the biggest guy, but he's definitely probably going to start immediately for the Titans. And he needs to work at catching in traffic, but besides that, he's going to be a good NFL wide receiver. All right, at pick 23, the Jets have their second pick, and they're going to be selecting Tevin Jenkins, tackle out of Oklahoma State. So Jenkins, the Jets have Mekhi Becton at left tackle, and they need someone to kind of help out the right side of their line, and they're most likely going to be getting Zach Wilson, so they really need to protect him. And he's the best available lineman. He's a large frame, quick feet. He needs to work on his consistency a little bit, but besides that, he's a great player, and he's probably going to start immediately for the Jets. All right, with the 24th pick, the Steelers are selecting Caleb Farley, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. A lot of people have the Steelers getting a running back, but I think if they're going to do that, they're going to trade back into the first round or get him in the second round because there's lots of running backs available. Joe Hayden isn't getting any younger, and the Steelers have a need at nickel. So I think Farley could play nickel for this year, and then as Hayden probably retires in the next 2 years, Farley could definitely go and play at that position. Farley, if not for his back issues, he'd probably be the number one wide receiver, and I think the Steelers are going to take that chance on him. All right, Caleb Farley. With the 25th pick, the Jaguars are selecting Trayvon Moehrig, safety out of TCU. He's by far the best safety in the draft. The Jets will be super happy that he fell all the way to them. They really need a safety. That's one of their bigger issues. And I think that he definitely fits the bill. He's the best available prospect available there also, and he fits a need. So they're going to draft him almost for sure. All right. With the 26th pick in the NFL draft, the Browns are going to select Jalen Phillips, edge rusher from Miami. I don't think the Browns are in with Clowney for their long run. He hasn't really done anything the last few years. And so I think they're going to try to get a young guy to pair with Myles Garrett on the line. Phillips is a high energy, high determination type player, and he's going to play like Ryan Kerrigan off the edge, just always coming in, never giving up on the edge, and always going to be running. And I think that'll pair well with Myles Garrett. So, Jalen Phillips. All right, with the 27th pick, the Ravens are selecting Terrence Marshall, receiver out of LSU. All right, with the 27th pick, the Ravens are selecting Terrence Marshall, wide receiver out of LSU. The Ravens really need some options for Lamar Jackson, and they already have a fast, shorter guy in Hollywood Brown, and I think Terrence Marshall pairs super well with Brown. He's big, he can climb the ladder, and he can catch in coverage against almost anyone. He does not have the best separation skills, but that can be worked on in the future, and I think he's going to be a very good weapon for the Ravens. All right, with the 28th pick, the Saints are selecting Zaven Collins, linebacker out of Tulsa. Some people may not think the Saints need a linebacker, but Quan Alexander can't stay healthy, and they don't really have anyone else opposite of Demario Davis. So I think they're going to address linebacker here. Collins is not the most athletic or explosive guy, but he has a unique blend of size, range, and instincts, and the scheme versatility to be a starting strong side linebacker. And he'd most likely start right away, and he could impact them immediately. He'd be a great addition to them. All right, with the 29th pick, the Packers are selecting Greg Newsome II out of Northwestern. The Packers, are they going to get a wide receiver? Of course not. They never do that for helping Rodgers. So they're going to draft their next big position of need at corner. They don't really have any options behind Alexander and King, and Kevin King gets exposed by everybody, and I think they're going to address they're going to give some youth to the position and address corner. And he's instinctive and explosive, and I really think he's going to be a good pick for the Packers. All right, with the 30th pick, the Buffalo Bills are selecting Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia. Ojulari is, by some, the best pass rusher in this draft. He's instinctive and explosive with cornering skills and scheme versatility, become an impact pass rusher. He could definitely become a younger version of Yannick Ngakoue. And I think he's going to be a really, really good impact player for them because they kind of need another edge rusher. All right, with the 31st pick, the newly acquired pick by the Ravens, who just sent Orlando Brown to the Chiefs in exchange for that pick. I think the Ravens are going to address the hole at tackle immediately and draft Alex Leatherwood, the tackle out of Alabama. He is large and he's not the best and the fastest, but he can definitely get the job done for them. And he's the best option there. He can also play guard for them if needed. All right, with the very final pick in the draft, the Buccaneers are going to select Jason Owe, edge out of Penn State, and he's one of the biggest risks in this draft, but also one of the highest rewards. He's super raw, but has super high upside, athletic, and he can kind of be a Jason Pierre-Paul type pass rusher. All right, so here are the grades that PFF gave me. I don't put too much into this because they're just what they think on the players. They really didn't like the Rashawn Slater pick for the Panthers. I don't know why, because I think they really need some offensive linemen, and Slater is the most versatile and can almost play anywhere. They also didn't like the linebacker for the Raiders, which I think the Raiders could really use a playmaker there. They also didn't like a lot of the offensive line picks for the Bears and the Jets, who I also think need offensive linemen, so I don't know why. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, have a good day.